Did you know America is the best country? At least that's what all Americans claim.
No, Mitchell, what's the best country?
America. Why?
To convince myself, I spent the last 6 months in the United States. And if it's actually the best country or not, I'm gonna tell you in this video. Enjoy. It has already been 6 months that I decided to leave my home country Germany and travel to the United States. A country that turned out couldn't be more different than my home country. But you may ask, why did I choose to travel America? What's so special about it in the first place? And it might be not a big deal for Americans because you live here. But every time I watch the American movie, it kind of felt like I'm diving into a whole different world. It kind of looks familiar, but still so much more different than Europe. It just looks bigger, more exciting, and it makes you wonder if that's actually the case in America. And especially you get exposed to American culture all the time in Europe, I came with some expectations to America. And my number one expectation was probably that everything has to be bigger in America. You know, bigger is better. And yes, that's absolutely true. And it's not even the obvious things like street and cars, it's just everything. Even basic grocery stores are as big as the biggest one you can find in Germany. Literally, in America, you can spend hours deciding what toilet paper brand you want to buy. Whereas in Germany, there are maybe like 3 brands, that's it. I even met an European once that told me she got lost in Target. Maybe she was just stupid to be fair, but yeah. So I already got used to calling an SUV a small car, even though it's one of the biggest you'll find in Germany. The fact that everything is so big in America just makes living here to an experience. America has the best food, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's completely the opposite. It's actually really bad. And what I mean by that, it's just not authentic. If it's Lebanese, Italian or Turkish food, you just get an Americanized version of it that tastes plain and greasy. And don't get me wrong, there are good restaurants in America, but they are just harder to find and way more expensive. That's probably also the reason why Americans prefer fast food restaurants, just because it's cheap and not that bad. Definitely better than some restaurants that charge you $40 for dinner. But to be fair, Mexican food here is really good. Everybody is obese in America. And I know the statistics say America is one of the most obese countries. And let's not question math at this point. But honestly, I can't agree. And I bet it depends on the state you live in. In my case, it's Colorado. But I experience Americans more fit and in shape than in Germany. It just seems like people in America are more into sports and nutrition. They do way more activities in their free time, like going on ride bikes or hikes. It's just not like I see more obese people here than I did in Germany, even though the statistics say something else. Everybody has a gun. And that's kinda true. Like, before I came to the United States, all friends told me, oh, don't get shot. Oh, aren't you afraid to get shot? Aren't you afraid of all mass shootings and whatsoever? And yes, most people I know in America have a gun. I couldn't even name one single person in Germany that has a gun. And don't get me wrong, it's definitely a problem in the United States, but it's not the case that you're afraid to go outside because there are so many mass shootings so everybody walks around with a gun. And once again, maybe it depends on the state. And guys, just by the way, if you're enjoying the content so far, just leave a like and subscribe. There are definitely coming up more videos with my lovely German accent. I didn't expect to experience that many cultural shocks. Even though America is on a completely different continent, it still looks kind of familiar and I speak the language. It's not like China where everything looks completely different and I can't even speak the language. And honestly, I couldn't be more wrong than this. Because let me tell you something. To all of you who thought the native language in the United States is English, I have to disappoint you. Because it's actually smiling. One thing Germans are not used to at all. In my first week, I got so overwhelmed by the niceness of all Americans. And until today I still didn't figure out if it's just fake or people in America are actually this nice. But honestly, I don't even care, I just appreciate it. I still remember my first day here where I went to the grocery and the cashier asked me how my day has been. And I got so confused, I was like, is she talking to me? Most you can get in Germany is a hello, that's it. And at least I figured out, if someone asks you how's your day, especially in grocery stores, they don't really expect an answer. It's just because they're nice. Cultural shock number 2. And it has probably something to do with the first cultural shock, but people here just start random conversations with someone, and I really like it. It's just so normal here to walk up to someone and start a little small talk. It definitely took me some time to get used to it. At the beginning I was always like, okay, who is that? I don't even know him. Does he try to sell me something? But I guess it's just the attitude of Americans to be nice and socialize. Next cultural shock. You really rely on the car in America. It just takes you so long to get from one point to another that without a car you are really screwed. You can literally tell Americans use their car a lot because everything is built built around the car. For example, streets and parking lots are way bigger. Everything has a drive-through and pedestrian walks are almost non-existent. Especially for someone who likes to go on walks, that kinda sucks. And in general, you can almost tell Americans are almost afraid to walk a certain distance because they rather take their car instead of walking 20 minutes. And now you maybe think, okay, if they drive that much, they have to be good at it, right? And no, that's absolutely not the case. I don't even know if that's the fact that you can drive with 16 or that the driving test is the easiest I've ever seen. And I think the driving rules make it even worse. They are definitely not as strict as in Germany. So for example, everybody's speeding. Even if it's 40 miles an hour, everybody goes with 60. Just because there are no speed cameras or almost no speed control at all. And the worst thing, you can even use your mobile phone while driving. That's a no-go in Germany. In addition, the cars itself are just not as safe as in Germany. If anything is not okay with your car in Germany, that might be dangerous for other people in traffic, you are not allowed to drive your car. Here I almost see cars falling apart. That's probably the reason why there are so many random things lying around on the streets. Actually, I could make a whole video about why driving in America sucks. So let's just move on to the next point. Americans are just proud to be Americans. They are proud to be born here and nothing can change that. Even if the country is falling apart, they will still say America is the best country. And honestly, Germany could apply more of this attitude. You can even tell how proud Americans are by looking at the way they celebrate things. They always have huge parades for almost everything, not only for holidays. Last cultural shock before we're moving on to the main question. The unit system. And guys, I'm gonna keep this one short because we all know the metric system is superior. Now, after 6 months, I'm kinda used to the imperial system, but it's still so much more confusing and it just doesn't come natural to me. There are just so much more units you have to remember. Like for example, distances. You have inch, feet, miles, and it just doesn't make any sense. For example, why is 1 feet 12 inches? I just don't understand the fact that America is almost the only country on the planet Earth that doesn't use the metric system. Do I miss Germany? And the short answer is definitely no. But honestly, it's kinda an unfair comparison, just because the last couple of years in Germany were kinda boring. I just went through high school, college, did some side jobs, and I definitely didn't travel that much as I do right now. Especially traveling just makes America to an experience. And despite that, I still didn't get used to America. Even speaking another language makes it just more entertaining, I don't know. And don't get me wrong, I still have boring days in America as well, but somehow it still doesn't make me miss Germany. Is that maybe a proof that America is actually the best country? Definitely no. Even though Americans always claim it, I think it's a side effect that they are just way too proud and have never been outside the United States. But is America a great country everybody should experience at least once in his life? Definitely yes. I can't really explain why, but there's some kind of magic in America that just lets you feel like living in a movie. Maybe it's the fact that America is actually like presented in movies. Everything has to be extreme, more exciting and bigger, whatever. They just make an experience out of everything. Can you agree with my opinion? Or do you think America is the best country? Let me know in the comments.